You've worked with a lot of great organizations, lots of great leaders. What do high-performing organizations and leaders have in common, Bonnie, that you would say?
Well, one of our partner organizations, they recently published a book, and the title of it, I think, really resonates in terms of the leaders who I'm proud to work with. And the title is Proud But Never Satisfied. So that's what I see as a common denominator with these leaders. They're relentless to move to the next level. They do take personally, what I see is, this personal connection to every patient's quality, experience, results. I remember sitting at one of our What's Right in Healthcare conferences in my very early days, and I actually was a little tearful as I listened to a CEO describe his results in patient safety and quality and experience. And they were at about a 97.9%, which is next to impossible, at least to me it was, as somebody attending this conference. And he said, and when I saw that result, I was thinking, celebrate. He said, I looked around my executive table and I asked, whose mom or child or sister fell through the cracks in our hospital? And I was absolutely floored. It's that level of commitment to vision, mission, values, I think, that drives this high performance. It's a relentless energy too. I sometimes look at them and say, my God, especially now in the pandemic, where do they get the energy? And I think it is that passion that fuels that energy. Yeah.
That's such a question. That's a great story, and I really love it because as human beings, typically we're goal striving, right? We want to be getting better, but sometimes we just become complacent. But it's about being content, but also trying to grow, get better.
Absolutely. And that's it. Proud, but never satisfied.
Right. And, coming back to your own story, you mentioned you were an ICU nurse and then you got tapped on the shoulder, you moved into leadership roles, but you didn't really have formal leadership development. How can we help leaders and organizations look at leadership as its own discipline? I know we briefly spoke about this previously, but, a lot of organizations, a lot of leaders don't look at leadership development as a separate skill set.
Mm-hmm. Well, Shiyen, first of all, thank you for the question and for this forum, because I think as anything, education is so cornerstone to moving to a new paradigm, and just exposing this is helpful. When I think about this, I think as a child, we're all asked, what are you going to be when you grow up? A policeman, a nurse, a teacher. Nobody says you're going to be a leader. Mm-hmm. And, we make this assumption that if we're good at something else, we can just lead. Well, it's not just lead. Leadership to me is one of the most important careers, whether it's in healthcare or not. Leaders, for me, own the future. And if it weren't that way, we would just stay doing everything we're doing. Leaders have to always have their eye on the horizon and help us to get there and inspire us to get there. So I think the education is more important. But I do think, bringing it back in any situation, talking about leadership in the early days with our children is important. I remember my daughter in her university days, and I had a global position as a director in the pharma industry, and she interviewed me about leadership. And I was so thrilled. And she asked me what my most important role was as in my position. And at the time, I led a team of maybe 20 people. And I said to her, my most important mission here is to make sure that my people are successful. And, for her, that was just afterwards, she said, why did you say that, Mom? But at the end of the day, we don't understand early enough how leadership can be such an incredible career. I think, more and more the universities are offering masters in leadership and all of admin and all of that prepares people very well. But, on the broad base, we don't look at leadership as a career as we should or could.
And leadership is all about others, right? It's not about...
And, in healthcare, then, it leads naturally that we would get people who would aspire to leadership, because when it's all about others, typically healthcare professionals are givers and concerned about others. So, I think there's some real natural fit there.